I didn't feel like I was just looking on my own. It felt that people were actually looking out for me. And that, as out of all the agencies that are online, this is the one that really put their head above the parapet and really went, right, let's just see what we can do for this guy. And Fatmir was the one that stood out and really was proactive and really helpful. And it felt like I was talking to a mate. It felt I'd known him for for a little while. He just spoke to me with professionalism, but compassion and empathy. So that was wonderful. And he just bent over backwards to make sure I could view this property. And I said, listen, Fatmir, I'm worried it's going to go. And he said, don't worry, we'll look after you. And then I came and viewed the property and met him, shook his hand, and immediately it was a wonderful experience to meet someone who felt like they were going to do their best for you. And that's what I got from Fatmir. There are three things that stood out for me with Fatmir. And first of all was his response and his proactiveness to contact me, his urgency. His urgency relaxed me. And it felt like I wasn't doing this on my own. Secondly was his professionalism. And he always contacted me, whether he contacted me even if he said, I can't contact you. And that's amazing. It's like, I didn't feel like when am I going to hear back from them? It was never the case with Fatmir. He was on the ball all the time. Thirdly, his empathy, his personality, his warmth. I felt like I also had a friend as well looking out for me. Basically, that trust actually came through Martin Gerard as a company, but the trust came from Fatmir. The way that he handled my situation, the way that we worked together to try and do this property, I felt through him, I could trust Martin Gerard. As a whole, Martin Gerard, it felt like everyone was working on the same page. It's like everyone had the same instruction on how to deal with a potential client. So Fatmir's really, front facing, dealing with me, helping me out, becoming my friend and my ally to all the administration staff. And I contacted them. None of them said, oh, it's, no, if he's dealing with it, you have to contact him. Everyone who looked up my information felt like they knew exactly what was going on. So as Martin Gerard as a whole, the communication across the board was just first class. Because of the current situation and climate in terms of renting, you are presented with so many options to go to, so many agents, spreading your net to sort of pick up anything you can. And I did go through various other agents as well, and I've viewed properties with them. But you were kind of shooed in and shooed out with the promise of being contacted later on for other potential properties that come at the market, and they give you your remit, your criteria, and everything like that. And that's where it ended. They just you just put into another file, into another cubbyhole, and then you're left. Martin Gerard wasn't that at all. Why don't the other agencies do it like this? I mean, this is the way forward. This is the benchmark of how you do rentals, lettings, and dealing with customers from the front end right to the admin staff. That's how you do it. You communicate. It's such a stressful time out there in London and across the United Kingdom. Martin Gerard is for me, because I've been doing this now for a little while and been researched so many, it's head and shoulders above anyone else. Fatmir had a wonderful local knowledge. He knew a lot about the area. He knew a lot about all the roads, the side streets, the amenities around the local area, so I could feel comfortable that his local knowledge meant I didn't have to do a lot of the research because he knew it. Unlike any other estate agent I've come across when I've been looking for countless properties, it's the way that he came across to me. And even at the times where I knew when I had to do a flat inspection or a little bit, I had to come and view the property, another check, and I bought measuring tape and things like that. I knew he didn't come from the office. He made a special arrangement to come and meet me. That's when I knew that I'm dealing with someone who is just really cares about me getting in here, because he actually made special arrangement to do that, and I know he did. And, you know, what do you say to that? That's over above and beyond the remit, isn't it? So it's fantastic for him to do that for me. This whole process of working with Martin Gerard didn't feel like it was simply transactional. It was more than that. And I'll be honest with you, I had to remind them about doing the transactions. They wanted me in. And I said, well, I'm ready. What do I do about payment? What do I do? Listen, let's get all the dot the I's and cross the T's first, and we'll about transactions later. If you've been checked and you've been vetted, they're not going to chase you up for it. They know you're okay. Their priority is to make sure you're happy in your property. And that's what that felt like. The reason why I'm giving this testimonial is I think people should be rewarded and acknowledged for an exemplary service, through professionalism, through compassion, through delivery of service, and people should be acknowledged more. And Fatmir deserves to be acknowledged more and praised for how he handled me as a client and as felt like a friend. And also the testimonial should also go to Martin Gerard as a company for employing and recruiting, fine agents like Fatmir, and also their administration staff and their officers. So I have no worries about giving up any of my personal time to do a video to say thank you to all of them. And I think Martin Gerard is an exemplary company who should really maintain their line and keep doing what they're doing. And Fatmir deserves a lot of praise for really getting me out of a sticky situation. I'd have absolutely no hesitation recommending someone to Martin Gerard at all. I mean, everyone. So even when I picked up the keys at the time, and I hadn't met this person before. I asked the gentleman, I don't know where to park. He told me where to park. He said, come and pick up the keys. Fatmir's not here, but I'm aware that I'm supposed to give them to you. That process was brilliant. So right into that last point, if once you get those keys in your hand and you go, that was a lot easier and lot more satisfying than I could have ever imagined it. So how could you not recommend Martin Gerard to anyone else?